What's going on, everybody? Today we are going to make some kombucha. It is so much better than store-bought when you make it at home, so let's get into it. What you're going to need for this is some sort of sugar. I use honey powder for the flavor. I think it's a little bit better than white sugar. Spring water, any kind of black tea, and a SCOBY. If you don't have a SCOBY, this is how you make one. This is just a raw probiotic kombucha that you buy from the store. What you need to make sure is that it says it has live bacteria in it. That is how you're going to add it to a starter and grow your own SCOBY. What you're going to do, heat up some water and measure out the same ratio that would to make sweet tea. That's going to be later in the video. Make a small amount of it, add some tea, and then you're just going to add in that whole bottle of kombucha. Give it a week or two, and it's gonna form a SCOBY like you saw in that intro, that thick, white, stodgy thing. Just pop it in a warm place, and now we're gonna make some tea. Follow this recipe on screen, and you'll have a great sweet tea starter base. Now, unfortunately, my first batch did not go well. You're gonna see in a moment here when I pull the towels off. You can see me kind of looking here. It got moldy. The pellicle, which is like the weird yeast cake looking thing on the top, on the right side one, got some weird white flocculation, if you want to call it that. It wasn't necessarily mold, but I didn't love it. The one on the left, I'll show you in a quick second here. I have to pick up the camera and kind of zoom in. Is your very traditional green furry mold. If you see this, get rid of it. Unfortunately, there's no saving it. You can't scrape it off. Everything goes. The tea, the SCOBY. You do not want to risk drinking anything that has this kind of mold in it. That's gonna be bad for your health. So, unfortunately, if you see this, scrap it. That one, you see, like I'm talking about that white chunky stuff. It doesn't look great. It might not necessarily have been infected, but just get rid of it. Okay, so now that we've remade our tea and we have a not gross kombucha, next thing you gotta do is make a fruit syrup. This I did use white sugar for. What you're gonna wanna do is take a whole fruit, wash it well so there's nothing too gross on there, and you're just gonna kind of smash it into a jar, a bowl, whatever. Mix it equal parts, fruit and sugar by weight. After about a week, it's going to turn into this nice sugary syrup. Pour it in, strain out the solids, and that's going to give you this beautiful syrup. That was about 1.5 cups, 2 cups for a gallon. I really liked it. It made my kombucha a little bit sweeter, but it had a great flavor. Next, we're going to take our kombucha that isn't moldy, and we're going to put it into the jar. What you can see there is a little bit of yeast and stuff collected at the bottom. You don't really want that in your finished product. So you're gonna see in a second, I'm going to try and pour most everything off and just leave a little bit kind of sacrifice to the gods in the bottom. That keeps just too much yeast and stuff from getting in there. Teaser for the end, if you leave a little too much yeast in there, they might explode. Stick around to see that. But this is what a healthy SCOBY looks like pulling out. I made it from a raw kombucha like that. If you buy a kombucha kit, they generally come with a SCOBY. I think people charge way too much for those. The ingredients for this whole batch cost like $6, including the kombucha to start. Once your kombucha's finished, you're going to test the acidity. This is how you know that it's totally done. Like in a wine, you test the gravity. With kombucha, you test the pH. So you get one of these little pH test strips and you hold it up on the back of the package. This one's between 2 and 2.5. It's pretty sour, but I'm okay with that. Add in your fruit juice or your fruit syrup. You can buy it if you don't want to make it yourself. I prefer making mine and just pour it in. Unlike beer or wine, oxygen doesn't really matter in this. And see, you just save a little bit of that yeasty shit in the bottom. Leave it alone, it'll be fine. Give your kombucha a little bit of a swirl, and then we're just gonna dump it into bottles. I like these snap top bottles. Don't mind me pouring it all over my counter. You know, sometimes fillings, less than precise art. The snap top bottles are really good. They're very thick glass, so they can hold a lot of pressure. Kombucha is a carbonated beverage. So once you get it all bottled up, with the sugar that was in your syrup and the little bit of yeast that sneaks through, it is going to ferment more while it sits. Now, you gotta leave it sit out for about a week. Choose a sacrificial bottle that after about a week, you're gonna pop the top and see how carbonated it is. If it's not carbonated enough, give it a couple more days. If it's too carbonated, put everything in the fridge immediately. If you leave these sit for too long, not refrigerated, like you're going to see at the end of this video, they will explode violently. It's not pretty. It gets all over your house. It's a sticky mess, and you don't get to drink it. So this is my finished kombucha, cooled off. It's got nice carbonation to it. You can see a little steam coming off the head. It's a beautiful red color. It's sour, it's sweet, it's very fruity. It pours like a great beer. If you like sour beer and you want something that's similar in vibe, not quite as alcoholic, brew yourself some kombucha, stick it in the fridge, serve it over ice. It's super refreshing. But like I promised, here's some bottle bombs. If you like this video, please like and subscribe.